Thank you for listening to our lessons from our daily Bible reading. Lesson today is Lesson Learned. In our reading yesterday, we read where Solomon is continuing his efforts in building the temple and now furnishing it as God had commanded. In 2 Chronicles, the 5th chapter, we find as he had determined to bring the ark into the temple. In verse 4 of 2 Chronicles 5, it says, All the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark. They brought up the ark, the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the holy vessels that were in the tabernacle. These did the priests and the Levites bring up. Also King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel that were assembled unto him before the ark sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for the multitude. And the priests brought up the ark of the covenant of the Lord unto his place, to the oracle of the house, unto the most holy place, even unto the wings of the cherubims. For the cherubims spread forth their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark, and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves of the ark, that the ends of the staves were seen from the ark before the oracle, but they were not seen without. And there it is unto this day. You know, that event is reminiscent of Solomon's father, David. David had purposed to bring the ark unto Jerusalem. And we read that there were two efforts. One, in 1 Chronicles 15, we find as David is embarking on the second attempt to bring the ark, and successfully, unto Jerusalem, that he warns and says the Lord brought a breach upon the people because they sought him not after due order. That was the first effort, in which the sad tale of Uzziah reaching forth, holding forth his hand to steady the ark that David had placed upon a new cart instead of carrying it the way that God had instructed, and Uzziah died. Well, it was a sad event that occurred, and many were repercussions because of it. But finally, David brought the ark to Jerusalem because he did it in the proper fashion. It seems that sometimes we learn. And maybe Solomon looked at this and he said, It's time to bring the ark here. Lesson learned. I remember what happened to my father whenever he sought to bring it up, not after due order. And so you read about Solomon as he brings the priest there. The priests bring it in as God has instructed. They did it by placing the staves through the rings in the ark to carry it in the fashion in which he said. Lesson learned. Success was had. Sadly, today, there are so many things that people try to improve upon, like David did in his first attempt at moving the ark. They don't seem to learn the lesson that God says what he means and means what he says. People think that they can build a new cart, that they can do it in a new fashion, maybe by modernizing worship, changing the roles of men and women in the worship, making the efforts of the church more social than spiritual. They haven't learned the lessons from old. Solomon could look and say, lesson learned. Let's do it right. God instructs us in 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, that these things happen to us for examples, that we won't do the same sad things that are done before, that we learn the lessons. Sadly, it seems that so many people don't do that. I'm thankful to read about Solomon that in this instance, lesson learned. He moved the ark, did it properly. Success was had. It saddens me, though, to see people today failing to learn the lesson, failing to see that God says what he means what he says. And we, if we love him, will keep his commandments, not the whims of man. Thank you for listening, and I pray that you'll have a great day, but you'll do it by looking back towards those things that were done wrong, those things that were done right, and say, lesson learned, I'm going to follow God. Thank you again for joining us in this Bible study. We remind you, if you'd like to follow along in our daily Bible reading, the link below in the description of this video will give you the PDF so you can read right along with us. If you have any other questions or if you'd like information on a Bible study, contact us with the information provided on the screen before you.